15-year-old Adriana Bejarano vanished from her home in Lancaster County in the fall of 1988. From the beginning, investigators suspected foul play and someone the teen was close with.
And 37 years later, Ephrata Police still have not named a suspect in the case. Fox 43's Sydney Nauman breaks down the case that has gone cold and how detectives are reviving the search for a girl who hasn't been seen in nearly 4 decades.
She was a good student. She was close with her friends and family.
You could just get a call and someone would just not be around anymore and not know what happened to them.
Maybe she was in some sort of secret relationship because she did just disappear.
Freshman year, the start of a new chapter.
We had just started freshman year. We had decorated our lockers together. You know, our lockers were side by side.
This was her locker back in high school.
But for 3 friends attending Lancaster Catholic High School, it was the beginning of a mystery that remains unsolved nearly 40 years later.
This was the bulletin that they had originally put out.
15-year-old Adriana Bejarano had a personality that friends say could light up a room.
Well, she was very bubbly, a happy type of person.
Jessica Gorin first met her in the 7th grade.
Just a fun person to be around.
Elizabeth Groff had known Adriana even longer. Best friend since 2nd grade.
She was my first friend. Yeah, she had the best smile, great hair, just long, curly, gorgeous hair. Yeah, she was just this beautiful person inside and out.
By the fall of 1988, the 3 girls were inseparable.
You know, the 3 of us were really kind of a trio as well.
But just months into the school year, Adriana vanished.
She never came back to school after that.
November 28, 1988, the final day of Thanksgiving break. Adriana was home alone at her family's residence on North Charles Street in Ephrata.
Monday morning, her mom goes to work around 5:30, sees her in the morning at the residence, talks with her. Adriana goes back to bed.
Her stepfather leaves for work shortly after. By mid-morning, Detective Beth Rivera says something is wrong.
Adriana was allegedly supposed to call a family member around 8 that morning to wake them up. She never called. So that family member, he woke up around 9:30, 10. He called her around 10:30 to 11. He called Adriana and she didn't answer.
When her parents came home that evening, there was no sign of Adriana, and her usual routine simply hadn't happened.
She'll raise a blind in the morning so that the light could shine on like a plant that they had. That blind was still down.
Details in her room raised even more questions. Some clothes were missing, shoes, a backpack, and overnight items, while other belongings stayed behind.
She had a project out on the table that she was supposed to be working on that day to, I guess, turn in on Tuesday. That was still on the table and not worked on.
Her favorite earrings, a gift from her mother, were left on the floor, while her books sat neatly stacked, unusual for Adriana.
The theory at the time was she left with someone close to her that she trusted. The person of interest at the time was somebody that was very close with her. She spent a lot of time with. The person was also a family member.
But Rivera says there was never enough evidence to make an arrest.
There were not many avenues to pursue because there was not really a crime scene for us to investigate. She just disappeared.
It's been 37 years, and Adriana's disappearance remains one of just 2 cold cases this small town is still trying to solve.
There was definitely speculation at the time that this occurred that maybe she was in some sort of secret relationship. Adriana had confided in a family member that she was pregnant, and this was approximately a week prior to her disappearance.
But other family members and friends say that theory didn't make sense.
So I find that hard to believe, because as far as I know, she never even kissed a boy before.
We would have known. We were close enough that she would have told me if she even had any type of relationship like that with somebody.
Still, Jessica says she had her suspicions.
to the best of my memory, I think he just kind of showed up maybe like the summer, right before 9th grade. He was a little bit older, had a car, very friendly, taking her out. I always had my theory, personally, that, there might have been something that happened there.
And when it comes to Adriana running away, police and people she was close with seem to agree it's unlikely.
She was a good student. She was close with her friends and family. She didn't use drugs or alcohol, so there were no concerns about her behavior.
Elizabeth says the girls had even discussed seeing each other at school the next day.
And she was like, "Oh, I can't wait to see you so I can make fun of you." The next day. So yeah, no, there was no indication that we weren't going to see her.
There was nothing that would have suggested that there was that she wanted to get away or that there was anything negative going on in her life.
When Rivera took over the case in 2022, she hoped modern technology could uncover new leads.
The investigators at the time collected items that would have her DNA on them, but that DNA was never actually identified and put into a national database. I'm in the process now of trying to identify DNA or extract DNA from those items.
That DNA could potentially be compared to unidentified remains across the country. Another possibility, Rivera says, is getting a DNA sample from a direct family member, her aunt and biological father. But the investigation still faces challenges. Without a search warrant, investigators say they've been unable to secure a sample.
Not much interest from the family members I did talk to in trying to find out what happened.
It would probably be done in a day, I didn't think it would last for the rest of our lives.
A shared experience they say brought them closer, even though Jessica now lives in France.
Always pick up the phone and it's if we still, it's as if no time has passed.
The pair are still hoping for answers nearly 4 decades later.
Obviously, I know that she's not on this earth anymore, probably, but I don't have any idea how or who or why.
That desire for having an answer and having some, just what happened is never going to go away.
Because some friendships never fade. Not with time, distance, or even a case gone cold.
I definitely think that, that would have been a little trio that would have been, we would have had some great times together too.
Sydney Nauman, Fox 43 News.
And anyone with information on Adriana's disappearance can contact Detective Beth Rivera at the Ephrata Police Department or submit a tip on the department's Crime Watch website.